I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Palestinian peace activist Aziz Abu Sarah. Aziz, thank you so much for joining me once again.
Thank you for having me again.
Aziz, you and I spoke in the immediate days following October 7th last year, and now we have just passed the one-year anniversary since Hamas launched an attack on Israel via air, land, and sea. It was the deadliest that the country had ever seen. Since then, tens of thousands have been killed as conflicts between Israel, Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran have spilled across the Middle East. This is also the deadliest conflict the Palestinian people have ever faced. Can you describe how the past year has been for you?
It's been a very difficult year since we talked. If you remember, we talked about how difficult it was for me in those days. And I found after our conversation about many of my Jewish friends who suffered directly from it, my friend Vivian Silver, I found out was killed. One of my colleagues, her friend was taken to captivity. Another person who've become a major partner for peace of mine in the last year, his parents were killed. So it's been a hellish of a year, a nightmarish of a year, because also on the Palestinian side, like you say, tens of thousands of people have been killed. I have friends in Lebanon who are terrified right now, and I know people who lost their entire family. I know people in Gaza who lost 50 people, 60 people in their family. But in the same time, this year has kind of been a resurgence in my activism. I become very good friend with Mao Zenon, whose parents were killed. We've been traveling and talking together, both to Israelis and Palestinians, but also internationally. We met with Pope Francis, met with Congress, met with so many officials around the world, and have been spreading one message, that peace is possible, and the only solution for our conflict is not through war, and it's not through killing one another, but through having a lasting peace agreement.
That's a really optimistic message to hear, especially in this past year when you've seen images, heard stories, heard firsthand accounts, and it's almost too much to bear. But I want to talk about your friendship now with an Israeli who his parents did die on October 7th. And you had this amazing TED Talk where you're sitting across from each other talking about how peace is possible. And you said, I'm angry, and there's a misconception that you don't have to be angry to achieve peace. I'm angry. My brother was killed years ago, but you can't let that anger drown out into hate. How do you do that?
It's very difficult, because anger, even hate, is a normal human emotion. But what we do is try to use all the anger that comes out of our hearts to make a better future. We look at anger like a nuclear power. You either can make light out of nuclear power, or you can create a bomb. And so we decided we are going to use our anger as a way to create light. But I would say also, we look at hope as not a static thing. So we often say hope is an action. How do you create this rebel effect? How do you overcome all these negative emotions? By creating hope, by doing something. I think if we only sit home and watch the news and do nothing, we wouldn't be able to handle it. But by working together, by making sure that we are doing everything we can to change this reality, it gives us hope, and it takes us out of feeling potentially hateful or revenge or all these things. There's a power to what we call meaning, and understanding that our lives have a meaning, but also in some ways making a meaning of our loved ones' killing and death changes everything. So to us, we want our relatives to be the last people killed. We don't want other people to go through that. And in our hearts and our minds, we believe this is what they would have wanted us to do. And so that meaning, it changes everything. It gives a reason for us to wake up in the morning.